the Club World Cup is, this new expanded version that's trying to, you know, take steam. And it's an expanded version of the Club World Cup. It's going to be used to essentially replace the Confederation Cup. You remember in the last previous years, in the summers before the Copa America, before the World Cup, they'd have a Confederation Cup amongst a lot of the continental champions, and then the host nations, and the previous winners of the World Cup also as well. They would all play in one big tournament. It'll be and it's gonna get replaced this year by the Club World Cup, this new expanded version of the Club World Cup. Now, the Club World Cup is interesting because in the fact that it's not just like the previous Club World Cup with the one European team and then one team from each confederation. This is going to be a 32 team format. It's going to be a 32 team format, and there's actually going to be 8 teams that come from Europe. 8 teams will be coming from Europe, actually. And the teams that have qualified from UEFA include Chelsea, Real. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Actually, no, it's 12 teams that come from Europe. 12 teams that come from Europe, and those teams are official. It will be Chelsea, Real Madrid, Manchester City, Bayern Munich, Paris Saint-Germain, Inter Milan, Porto, Benfica, Borussia Dortmund, Juventus, Atletico Madrid, and Red Bull Salzburg. Those are confirmed into there. So, and there's going to be 12 teams from Europe in this 32 team format, and it kind of creates something that could rival the Champions League a bit, in terms of the fact that a lot of the top European teams, they're going to be going head to head, especially in the later stages. You're going to have an opportunity for some of these CONCACAF teams to get more exposure, these CONMEBOL teams to pull off some sort of upset with Palmeiras, Flamengo, Fluminense, River Plate, and more. And it, on the look of the basis, it seems a great way to grow the club game just worldwide. The club game happens to be really, really big in Europe, but this gives it an opportunity to grow it wide. But with positives, there are negatives, and that is, there has been a recent uproar over the past few years of players just playing way too many games in the just in general, just playing too many games, too much minutes, too many tired legs, and that has been a huge issue. So so it is FIFPro, PFA have threatened a player strike. Players have warned FIFA that they're willing to go on strike because of the calendar being too loaded, and the chief executive of the PRA, of the Professional Football Association, said himself that a lot of the global player union said while global player union FIFPro is gonna lead a joint lawsuit with a lot of the European leagues. He's wanted, the PFA CEO has wanted a change since February. He thinks players have just played too many games and it's reaching a breaking point, and just the schedule is too packed. And when you look at it, what it looks like, when you look at club football and the international game, it's a lot of football going on. That's something that's inarguable. There's a lot of football going on when you look at the club game and then all these international breaks, and you have the international tournaments this summer. Then you want to top it off with just another Club World Cup next summer. And, also, this might put teams a little bit out of a disadvantage compared to, other teams that are not participating in this next year. It's going to put teams at a disadvantage Like Real Madrid, they're gonna have to compete in this next season, but their rivals, their Barcelona, they have not been able to get in, um, so they're not gonna have to participate in this, and could that give Barcelona a good start in La Liga to for that following year, because of the fact that they were on break throughout the summer, their players were able to have a proper holiday and all that, while Real Madrid players had to play a major international tournament, or club international tournament. And you know, there's a what concerns me too about this is if there's certain clubs that don't deem this tournament as an opportunity, I'm afraid of the potential of this becoming just another preseason type of tournament, and that would be a very very bad look for UEFA, or not for UEFA, for FIFA. And also keep in mind this: FIFA are not doing this, completely with the support of confederations, like especially with UEFA, because this essentially becomes a club tournament that rivals the Champions League, that could rival them in terms of popularity and importance. If the FIFA are able to do what they're trying to, if FIFA are able to accomplish, this type of club World Cup, I think this could rival the Champions League in terms of popularity amongst club football. But there's a lot of variables in this. Obviously, when it comes to players playing a lot of games, that is it's a hard sell to make after playing a 38 game club season, and then the previous summer having to play an international tournament for your country, to ask them to play in a club World Cup. It is first time around in its inaugural season. But then again, everything when it's starting off always happens to have a bad rap. Always, everything that always is starting off its first, getting through the introduction stages, they're going to go through their negatives, they're going to go through their criticism, and maybe that is what's going on today. But I definitely do believe that there has to be some sort of better, there has to be some sort of better way to, open up these calendars for these players so they don't have to play as much minutes and as much games that they do, and then having to play a Club World Cup onto that. I think, in general, major football organization, FIFA, they have to do a better job of just revamping how the international cycles is. And, I'm a huge fan of international football. Don't get me wrong. I'm a huge fan of it, but there has to be a better way of, managing both club football and international football, so it just doesn't become too much of a burden on the players, so the injury risk is lower and all that. Now, in terms of this, situation, PFA CEO Mahata Malongo said himself, "I can tell you a situation not 10 days ago where I went into a dressing room that was directly affected and said, I'm happy to be here and bark a bit, but ultimately it's up to you. How far do you want to go?" That's what Malonga said. And then he also said, some of them said, "I'm not having it. We might as well go on strike." Some said, "What's the point? Yes, I'm a millionaire, but I don't even have time to spend the money." And he also said it was not even the union that said it. It was Jurgen Klopp and Pep Guardiola. "We have reached a point where we cannot rule out any action." And Jurgen Klopp, believe me, he has been very critical of how the calendar has been on the players, how there's just been too many games and how the players are getting overworked. He's been very, very critical of that fact. They In a letter that was sent to FIFA President Gianni Infantino and his General Secretary Matthias Gratzform, the Global Player Union, FIFPro with PFA and a lot of the World Leagues Association threatened league in action if FIFA does not change their course. And FIFA has responded denying the claims that it's taken an unilateral decision to favor its competition in the international calendar, and they would not consider rescheduling the tournament. Malongo said some of the changes in England with the domestic calendar have been forced by what FIFA and UEFA have done. What has happened is further confirmation that something needs to be done, Malonga said. He also said, we will try to exhaust all diplomatic avenues. We have sent a letter, we have received a reply, but unfortunately time is against us. Sometimes between growing up people, desperate trying very hard to find solutions, you need a third party to decide, maybe an arbitrator or a tribunal.